Here is a different way of doing trees. If you're going to plant a tree out in the middle of the pasture where it'll do you some good, it'll get you some shade for your animals, it's nice to have trees located around the center of your farm instead of just along the edges. And so what we did here is I had a bunch of old steel posts that we took up from a farm. And then these are what we call cattle panels. So these are 48 inches tall. They come in 16-foot lengths. And so one panel, you can take bolt cutters and just cut these into 3 pieces. And then we make a triangular pattern around the tree. So we originally planted honey locusts, and they were supposed to be Hershey, which is an old breed of honey locust back, well, Mr. Hershey of the Hershey candy bars. He's the one that developed this breed. He worked at it for many years, spent a lot of money, and that grove is still going in Pennsylvania. We got some of them, or we thought we did. A lot of them came up with thorns on them. Just as soon as they came out of the ground, the darn things had thorns on them. But I noticed this one doesn't have thorns on it. So we may let it live, or but we got a better tree planted right beside it. We planted white oaks. So we put out 50 cages like this, and we put 2 trees in each cage. And by doing that, if one grows and the other one doesn't, or one grows into a better tree than the other one, you can just snip the other one off, because you don't want to leave 2 trees growing real tightly together, because they're not going to amount to anything. They're robbing nutrients from each other, and they don't have enough sunlight. So we did put down a nice layer of wood chips. It's about 6 to 8 inches deep, and if you didn't, and you just planted into this fescue, don't even bother. You just wasted your time. The fescue robs all the moisture. It takes all the nutrients, and it just suffocates the tree. So if you're gonna plant it, make sure you put a good thick, it's best to use rotted wood chips. You're getting a lot of good fungal material around a tree. They like that, because trees are fungal. So by putting a lot of fungal wood chips, preferably chips that are a couple years old, so they're kind of broke down, starting to compost, you can't get any better than that. And you notice there's no grass growing in amongst the trees. Now there's some on the side, but there's nothing around the tree. So any rain that falls on those wood chips, it goes right to the trees. But once the tree gets big enough, white oaks will go 100 feet tall. Once this tree gets up to, say, 10 or 12 feet, you can take these cages off, because now if a cow rubs on it or reaches up and eats a leaf off the lower limbs, that's not going to hurt the tree. But if you take these cages off too soon, the cows are big animals. They'll push on the tree, or they'll eat all the leaves off of it, and then they kill it. And sheep and goats goats are even worse. They'll eat the whole tree. They'll eat it right into the ground, and now you don't have a tree. So this is a pretty good deal. If you're gonna get goats and you're gonna put these wire cages around there, don't use a cattle panel. You got to use what they call a pig panel, and pig panels have a lot closer spacing, because a goat will stick his head through there, and a goat's got horns on it, then they can't pull their head back out, and you've got a goat cross-tied here with his head stuck through the fence. You don't want that. So use the smaller. They sell different size panels. Just make sure that the spacing on your panels you use are small, so a goat can't get his head in there if you're going to run goats. And sheep would be the same. The cattle panels come in 16-foot lengths, and if you cut them in 4-foot sections, you can get four 4-footers out of one. So right here is enough to do, this one we only used 3, so we had a panel left over for the next cage. And this is not perfectly triangular. This could have came out a little bit more, but that's just the shape the panel was. So yeah, it works pretty good.